All right. Hello, good morning, good evening, and good night. I hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic because today we're going to be talking about will the Yieldmax ETFs, will all Yieldmax ETFs go to zero? And so for the course of this video, I want to talk about Yieldmax, Yieldmax ETFs, everything like that, strategies we employ and strategies that Yieldmax employs in order to pay out their synthetic cover calls. And what I want to talk about in the basis of this video is I want to talk about some ways that you can protect yourselves from your Yieldmax investments, because at the end of the day, stocks, ETFs, they're all investments, and they all, no matter what they are, even Yieldmax ETFs have the opportunity to go to zero. We see this very closely in MRNY. We see the share price absolutely fall over the past year, more than 70%. And so what I want to talk about in this video is some steps you could use, such as diversifying. We have diversified ETFs within Yieldmax, which you guys can buy and hold in order to diversify your investments. I want to talk about some strategies that you can use which fall on buying short options of Yieldmax ETFs to protect yourselves from the downsides. And then I also want to talk about the most important thing, I think, when it comes to Yieldmax ETFs, which is doing your research on your underlying companies. Those are the three bases that we're going to talk about in this video. If you agree with me and how I just said bases, I really hope you guys do enjoy this video. I think it's going to be a great one. We're up to 6,323 subscribers, 314 subscribers in the past 28 days. Last video, 1 out of 10, which really is a 10 out of 10. It is fantastic. Thank you very much to everyone who watched and commented. So many comments on that video. If you guys like this video too, make sure you comment and I will be sure to get back to you. So we're talking about, will the Yieldmax ETFs go to zero? Funny enough, I'm making a video about Yieldmax ETFs going to zero, and I actually only hold Yieldmax ETFs. The only other ETF that I hold is SPXS, which is a 3x bear, which I use to hedge myself to the downside. So, will Yieldmax ETFs all go to zero? I don't, in short, think all Yieldmax ETFs will go to zero, but you never know at the end of the day. All Yieldmax ETFs are underlying stocks. They are underlying stocks, they're underlying companies, they're underlying businesses, which have the opportunity to fail and they have the opportunity to go under. So nothing is ever safe when you're investing, and you have to keep this in mind. But what are some ways that we protect ourselves? We protect ourselves through one, diversification. Yieldmax. Yieldmax is a Yieldmax ETF paying 87, almost 88% in terms of dividend yields. It pays a weekly dividend yield, and I arguably say it is the best Yieldmax ETF because it is well diversified, holding about 24 different underlying Yieldmax ETFs. You could see here they each have a weighting of about 3 to 4%, and this includes all of the long-term, I say bullish Yieldmax ETFs. You can see here we got roughly about, it looks like 28 Yieldmax ETFs in. You see obviously their weightings, and this is the first way to diversify yourself. When you're buying Yieldmax, for example, you're buying into the price returns of 28 different Yieldmax ETFs. And when you do this, you drastically reduce your risk because you're now, instead of taking one ETF like Coney, for example, and putting all your eggs in one basket, you are putting your eggs into multiple baskets, multiple sectors and industries. And you are protecting yourself because if one Yieldmax ETF is to go down, it only impacts about 3 to 4% on the overall share price of Yieldmax. So that's why I think it's fantastic. Yieldmax, I believe it corresponds well to the S&P 500, as I mentioned many times on this channel, and I do believe it's the best Yieldmax ETF to hold long term. That's just my opinion. I have about $15,000 in, and so I kind of put my money where my mouth is currently. But the next way that we can protect ourselves if, we feel that our Yieldmax ETFs could potentially go to zero is through buying these short versions. If we look at our Yieldmax ETFs, we go to our short option income ETFs. You can see there's 4 out right now. You have a Tesla, Coinbase, Nvidia, and then YQQQ, a short NASDAQ 100 option income strategy ETF. But one thing you could do is if, for example, you're looking to buy TSLY, you're looking to buy Coney, and you notice the share price is very volatile for these ETFs. They go up and they crash hard. What could you do? You could buy the short version, which if, of course, the underlying stock, which is Coinbase, if Coinbase rises like it has 130% over the past year, you're not going to see great gains in a short ETF. It's only when you feel that the price is high, which I use Coin as an example because I always want to provide you guys value when I'm creating this video. Coinbase, I believe, is at an all-time high, and I believe it has the potential for a little bit of a reversal here. You could see maybe it's going to trend like it did the last time, where we hit a new high, kind of trended down off that high, stayed the same, and dropped sharply. A sharp drop is going to benefit fiat, but it's not going to benefit Coney. If you are a holder of Coney, you can see Coinbase is sitting close to all-time highs. Do I think it deserves to be at these all-time highs? Yes and no. Bitcoin is going strong, and that's why Coin is at all-time highs. If Bitcoin is to fall, it's had such a big rally. I do believe that I think Coney could potentially fall with it. I do think fiat is going to appreciate. Currently down negative 55%. And in my investing account, I might potentially look to buy some fiat before I buy Coney, because I do believe it's at a much better potential price point. And I do believe that there's a lot of negative momentum going for coin at the current time being. So once again, if you are concerned about the, let's say, the Yieldmax version, the bullish Yieldmax version, which is Coin in this case, going to zero, you can buy the short side of that and protect yourself on the downside. And both of these pay dividends. As you can see, Coney paying 160% and fiat paying 104%. Neither is a terrible dividend by any means, so something to keep in mind. And the last kind of area that we're going to talk about here is we're going to talk about doing your research, which is arguably the most important thing. This kind of goes into all facets here, where we're investing in Yieldmax. We're looking at the underlying the underlying ETFs that it holds. Correspondingly, we also got to look at the underlying stocks. This goes into researching what is the best way to hold our Yieldmax ETFs. Do you want to have maybe less share price fluctuations, so you buy the short option along with the long term for the Yieldmax ETF? Or do you really strongly believe in a stock, an ETF, want to buy the Yieldmax version of it, and so you buy it heavy, as I did with Babo? Because I have an Amazon business, and I use Alibaba in order to create new products and ship them out to Amazon. And Alibaba has a Yieldmax income option strategy ETF, which pays insane dividends. And so, of course, I bought it, and I bought about $1,500 worth. I'm definitely looking to buy more of this, if I can kind of show you right here. Average price, $18.30. And we're currently sitting about $18.73. So we're way up on that position. And once again, doing your research is huge. We look at a stock like Moderna, for example, over the past year has absolutely tanked 44%. In the past 6 months, 71%. So you could see, obviously, the Yieldmax ETF. This is a case scenario where our Yieldmax ETF could potentially go to zero. If Moderna continues to fall, if something happens to the business and they get delisted, the Yieldmax option income strategy ETF will get delisted. I have not heard of a Yieldmax ETF that has gotten delisted yet because of the underlying stock, but it's something that you have to keep in mind, because whenever you invest, you're risking your money, and it all depends upon the underlying company. That's why it's so important to do your research and understand what you buy, and as well understanding the strategies of Yieldmax and how they can either be beneficial or they can be bad for certain stocks. So if you guys did enjoy this video, what I do is I cover Yieldmax ETFs. We're up to 6,323 subscribers. I advise this, we don't give financial advice, but what I do advise is you hit the subscribe button, you hit the like button. If you guys do enjoy this video, I give many videos on Yieldmax ETFs. It's all that I talk about, and it's all that I pretty much own. So if you're looking to buy some Yieldmax ETFs, get involved in the journey, you want to protect yourselves on the downside, I will do my best to support you, but I cannot make decisions for you. You make your own decisions, you make your own research and judgment, and I am here to show you exactly what I do and what I believe. So if you guys enjoyed this video, please do remember to stick around. I want to thank you for being with me, and I hope to see you guys in the next video.